Welcome. This is a series of on Paul's second missionary journey. This is covered in Acts 15:36 through Acts 22. This set of videos is about the historical and geographical context of Paul's journeys. In this video, part 13 of our series, we follow Paul as he's sailing home from Corinth. This is covered in Acts 18 through 22. Paul, as he decides to go home from Corinth, travels to Cenchrea. This is on the seacoast. It's about 10 miles to the port. It's a place he would find a ship, and remember, as he traveled on the ship, he found a cargo ship, and he placed his belongings on the cargo ship. He would need to carry his clothes, his food for the trip, and anything he was traveling home with. He will be traveling out through the islands near Athens to the Aegean Sea. Paul probably found a captain who would carry him, and the captain probably had different places. So Paul, in this journey that Luke records, is traveling across by the Athens and the islands nearby, across the Aegean Sea to Ephesus, and then the captain travels from there to Caesarea Maritime, which is in Israel, and then Paul travels to Jerusalem. So what would it look like? Well, one of the current areas near Athens is a set of islands, and often cruise ships today will travel out and see what sort of beautiful islands. People take a vacation, they swim, they enjoy it, and this is somewhat what it would look like. What does it look like when you get to the Ephesus coast? Well, it's a sandy area. This is a picture of the Ephesus sea coast today, but that's not what Paul would have seen, because as Paul traveled across the Aegean, he would come to Ephesus, but at this time the port has been silted over, so the port is a good 20 miles from the ancient city. So he would have to go from the port where the ship docked up the road. As you see, leading in here from the road is a road that Paul would follow. And then he would come to the main city of town. It says in Acts he went to the synagogue and had a discussion with the Jews. Now, the people encouraged him to return, but he said, "If God wills, I will return." And he went back with the captain and traveled across the Mediterranean to Caesarea Maritime. Now, it was just called Caesarea then, and at that time it was a fabulous harbor created by Hares. And you notice that the buildings in the harbor in this artist's view had ships docked all over. The descriptions from Josephus and others suggest that the harbor had ship docking all around it, and that they could roll from the cargo up to through the city streets. Now, today, what do we see is simply the remaining rock formations that were sunk in the Mediterranean. Today, the harbor has been destroyed, and you would see it today. Having been to Caesarea, this is an exciting thing to see, because behind it is the chariot race area. There is the aqueduct. So this makes the Bible real. You can almost picture yourself. Now, after Paul landed in Caesarea Maritime, he would have gone on to Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem, you travel through a lot of hot area, first at the beach, and then as you go up the walkways to Jerusalem. And so I suspect when Paul finally saw the walls of Jerusalem, his eyes welled with tears. Today, people are often cry in Jerusalem. The Jews go to the west wall of the temple. And I've been there where you actually see people stuff notes for prayer requests in the temple wall. It is a place where you find God is touching people moment by moment. I felt the presence of the Lord in a unique way as I sat at the west wall. So Paul probably reported, and perhaps Silas went with him on the journey. They probably read their notes on it, and people listened with great joy and great thanksgiving. Well, that's the end of part 13. Please join me for part 14 that covers the last step in Paul's journey. That's the step from Jerusalem back to his home church at Antioch. Thank you very much.